There are lots of places to find answers, but the coolest things happen when you use God as your helpline. You've got questions? He's got the ultimate answers. This is Helpline.
The Bible is like a helpline of answers you need to live the best life. Life God's way. In this series, we've been looking through one of the books in the Bible, Proverbs, to find out how God would answer some of your questions. And this is the one that we are going to camp out on today. Someone in your class says a bad word or gossips about someone else. Your brother or your sister is doing something you know they shouldn't do. How will you respond? The good news is that Proverbs has some great insight on how God's helpline could hook you up with some great responses to these situations. You see this mirror? A mirror is a reflection of whatever you put in front of it. What you see in the mirror is no different from what it's reflecting. And when you have a relationship with God, He wants us to trust Him with our lives so that He can start molding us into His reflection. When we start to look like someone who knows Jesus by our actions, our words, our attitudes, then others will see His reflection and take notice. Proverbs 3, 5, and 6 is a verse we've been talking about, and if you know it, say it with me. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge Him, and He will make your path straight. When we trust in God, He will give us understanding of situations that we might not understand without Him. And in each and every situation, when someone does or says something that you know they shouldn't, you can ask God to give you wisdom on how to reflect Him in that moment. There will be times when God might tell you to simply pray for that person. If a kid in your class says a bad word or is doing something that's against the rules, that is a great time for you to ask God to be with them. Maybe they're acting out at school because deep down they're sad or mad about something that's happening at home. You might not know why, but God does. So ask God to work on them. There will also be times when God might ask you to step in and reflect Him with confidence to help someone else out. Maybe a kid is getting picked on or talked about at school and in your neighborhood, and you know that those words or actions are hurting that person. God might ask you to be bold and stand up for those who are being disrespected. If God is telling you that you need to say something, regardless of what others will think or say, you can say it with confidence. Proverbs 14:26 says, "In the fear of the Lord, one has strong confidence." I was a new kid in my middle school and hadn't found any friends yet. One day I was walking out of my class and I realized that a group of girls were talking about the new girl and how much they didn't like her because she was different. That new girl was me. I was so embarrassed, and I wish that someone in that group would have had the courage to stick up for me. But instead, they all stopped talking when they saw that I was standing right behind them. What would you have done if you were my friend? Would you have let God use you to stand up for me? Or would you have kept quiet and just been a part of the crowd? Here's the bottom line. When someone is doing or saying something you know is wrong, in all your ways acknowledge Him, and He will give you direction you'll need to reflect Him. Proverbs 3, 3 and 4. Let love and faithfulness never leave you. Bind them around your neck. Write them on the tablet of your heart. Then you will win favor and a good name in the sight of God and man. Reflecting God isn't always going to be easy. It might take patience and self-control. But if you acknowledge Him and trust that He is working within you, you'll win favor, and people will be drawn to God's reflection in you. God is the ultimate helpline in any situation. Proverbs is a great place to turn to when you need help. This week, I pray that when you see a situation where someone is doing or saying something you know is wrong, you'll see the power you have from God inside you to ask Him for direction and reflect Him in any situation. Remember to acknowledge God in everything, knowing that He is your helpline.